Hello, welcome to your What Counts instructional video. The purpose of this video is to show you how functionally simple keeping your records using tax strategies to reduce your taxes can be all in one package. During the course of this presentation, you're going to see us note this is a program when in actuality it's a series of worksheets that function within an Excel program. The reason we did it this way is for speed and functionality. You'll see as we go through the program how this works. First of all, for most small business owners, having a large, cumbersome accounting package or program usually is not what they need. The other thing they need is they need education. What is it they're allowed to deduct, and how do they report that? And finally, tax strategies. To be able to use and take advantage of everything that Congress has granted us, there are some basic things that can be of great value. All of those things have been built into this program. It's made by tax professionals. Its purpose is to make it easy for you to keep records and to give us the information that we need to maximize your tax return. Now, one of the things that we've run into as people looked at this is some amazements at how simple it is. And that line up top that says, "Its simplicity is mind-boggling," is a true statement that came from a client. To take full advantage of this, there are some things to be recognized. First of all, there are a series of cells, which are these square boxes. You'll see my cursor moving on that now. And each one contains different information or links. As we go through the program, you'll see pop-up boxes that tell you information like this, or this, or this, where they have information that shows. Now, to get things started, we're going to go ahead and hit the table of contents, because this is kind of our home button. Now, in the table of contents, not only does it include the information as far as the different worksheets that we're going to be accessing with the links, which are these yellow boxes, it also has helpful information over here to the side. You'll notice as you place your cursor over these different cells that information pops up. The purpose of that is to educate you throughout this whole thing of various things that are important. Down here at the bottom is a series of cell colors and values. It just makes it easier when you look at a cell to determine what it's supposed to do. The most common and most useful is going to be the yellow with underlined words. These are links, very quick links, to the different programs that are there. Now, one of the advantages of this particular What Counts system is not only can you input data and record things, but you also have instant contact with a tax professional. Now, you notice my cursor is sitting on this tax professional box. Just click it. In this particular case is Bob Adams, with his phone number and emails and fax and contact times. This person has committed themselves to helping you to achieve the most you can from this program and in preparing your tax returns to minimize the amount of taxes that you pay. This person is somebody you can contact anytime, those hours there, and you're going to find a link back to this connection on every page throughout the whole program. Feel free to contact this individual. They have joined us in order to make themselves available to help. Next, and the most important thing that needs to be done before you get started, is the setup. Now, you'll notice that this setup is very, very simple. There's no real choices to be made. All you do is you put in your business name, your address, your name, your phone number, and your email. Now, starting here, we have some information that may not seem like it has any value at all, but it does. Your home, whether you're renting or buying. When did you move into it? If you bought it, how much was the purchase price? What was the value of the land? When did you start your business? And most importantly, what is the square footage of your home versus the square footage of the business space? Step 3, in here you insert your children and their social security number and their age who are helping you in the business. Now, you may not realize it, you can pay your children between the ages of 7 and 23 up to the maximum amount before they become taxable. 100% deductible to you, not taxable to them, extremely great write-off. It does require payroll reports, but no payroll taxes. We'll get into that a little bit later. Here in step 4, there's a purple box. Here you insert this year's date. Now the program you can use for continually for a very, very long time in different years, but this identifies this particular year. The next step is to save the file. Now we're going to save it by using the name of your business and the year for these records. Following that, we're going to click right here where it says 100 deductions. This is part of the education of having your business. One of the things that most people love to have in this thing is the ability to identify what is deductible and where to put it. Now you'll notice that each one of these boxes has got a pop-up information to it, and it tells you what that is and where to put it. For example, like parking fees or gas and oil, depreciation. Now that's all going to be determined by your tax professional and how that's going to be taken. Or computers and laptops, where does it go? Cell phones, where does it go? Furniture, where does it go? Raw materials, where does it go? All these 100 deductions are in here. These are not the total deductions. These are just some of the core ones. Also, you'll notice down here where it says medical, and there's a pop-up right there. We do not have a definition of medical expenses in the deductions because it requires a specific plan. To accomplish that plan, you're going to want to talk to your tax professional about setting up an HSA or an MSA or other types of business deductible health care expenses. Finally, over here to the right side, you'll see important links. And what we've done is we put in links to the federal tax deadlines, IRS website, Uncle Fed's website, which we like a lot, tax tips from the SBA, and your IRS publication 535. This is the information of what the IRS looks for and allows what's deductible and what's not. It's kind of detailed, but it's nice to have it. And finally, sometimes you just get to the end of the day and you can't stand anymore, and there's a joke for the day, which makes it kind of fun. Next, our monthly financial worksheets. This is where you'll post your actual expenses and income in detail for each month. Now, as we go into this, you're going to see some definitive advantages to this program. First of all, every field that has any kind of a description has a pop-up indicator to tell you what goes there. Included with this is where you'll put in the date of the transaction, the instrument, whether it was a deposit or an expense, and a description. Now, I've installed a couple of numbers in here just to play with so we get an idea of how it works. You'll notice that this is January, and we have a monthly income right here of $12,000. Well, on the next line up, it shows you the current year-to-date totals. Every month will give you a running total. Next, these three lines here is your monthly gross income, which would be minus returns and minus cost of goods, plus your expenses that are allowed, and what your gross monthly profit loss is. And up here is your year-to-date gross income, gross expenses, and gross profit to loss. Now, each page has got a help page, and you can go to that and it'll define what has to be done there. And then also we've included some easy instructions to how to fill this form in. Feel free to utilize these because they do help a great deal in getting this accomplished. Now, another part that's important to remember about having a business is not only are there allowable expenses, which are off to the right, but also your mileage. Now, we've created a very unique system here, so as you're making your entries, and let's say you've gone somewhere and bought a supply item, you've entered that expense, you can click on mileage, go back over to here and put in the date, where you went to, what it was for, and how many miles it was. Once you're complete putting that in, you can go back to the month that you were working in and continue putting your data. Now, this is functionary for every month. You'll see as you go through it. There's the totals, and I didn't put anything in here until I got to December. And there's a series of a whole bunch of numbers that show up in here, and it changes the year-end totals and the month and the year to date for all of these. Now we're going to go back to the table of contents. Another item that's extremely important is business use of the home. Now, if you're functioning out of your house, you're able to deduct certain percentages based upon the size of the square footage of the house versus the square footage of the office space, which you filled out in the setup. In here, you would put all your indirect expenses. Now, by indirect, I'm talking about your electricity, which is not directly associated to the business, and your gas and your heat and homeowners association and all those types of different things that are in here. These things will be added up and used later on in business use of the home. The other thing we have on here is at the end of each year, you'll receive from your bank a 1098. You can actually post the information in here from your 1098 or just forward that on to your tax professional and he will take it from there. Hiring the kids. Now, I touched on that just briefly before, but in here where you can put in your children, when you're starting the setup, and you put in a date for work that they did, and you'll notice that the date structure is simple to put in. 01/01/ and then the year. Cleaning, time, and the pay. Your mileage records. Your mileage records are set in here because not only can you put in your expense for business, but you can also take your charity and your moving. And one more neat feature is your medical. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you would have a conversation with your tax professional to figure out how to be able to make your medical expenses 100% deductible on your taxes. And they will help you create some kind of a plan. The purpose of this portion is to record your out-of-pocket expenses. These are all put together for a yearly total at the end, but you also have the ability to record the mileage. One more time, it's just a click. And here you are. There's Dr. Jones for Joe's Tonsils and how much it cost. Now, at the end of the year, we have what's called a year-end summary. From a tax professional, this is what's really key in doing your taxes because this gives us the totals of all of the things we've told you to collect. This is a report that you cannot modify from this page. All these cells are locked, but they give us the totals that we need. Now you have choices. You can print this out and use it for your records, or you can take this whole program and send it off as an email attachment to your professional, and he will conclude your tax return from there. In addition to all those wonderful items that are in here, we also put some printable forms in. Now, as you get ready to travel and go about your day, you're going to want to keep records for the IRS of your mileage. This is a printable form that you can just stick in the car and be able to track the information, the date and where and why and who you met with, your odometer readings, and whether it was business or charitable or medical or moving. In addition to that, we also put in a travel one. Every time you get ready to go on a trip, you'll want to print this out and take it with you. That way you can track all your expenses, and when you get home, you simply enter them into the program and you have all the data complete. You hang on to these records for your backup for the IRS. Now here's a very important part. This is the 3-year review. Just like going to a doctor, it never hurts to get a second opinion. Most people in America overpay their taxes, about 70% of them, by an average of $2,000 a year. By having your taxes reviewed by a professional who specifically knows how to do small business returns, you may uncover either hidden refunds or overpaid taxes in which you can get a refund for the last 3 years. Those returns can be amended and submitted back. The refunds would come to you in addition with interest. That would be federal and state. It's worth having your tax returns reviewed. The other thing that happens during a review is that you get tax strategies. The tax preparer can tell you ideas and what to do to be prepared for the future. Another form that's in here that we have is called the tax organizer. Now this was made mostly for the tax preparer's benefit. If you're a new client with them, you can fill in the information here, which gives them about 80% of what they need to start doing your tax return. It makes it simple for us to be able to grab it and stick it into the program, and makes it much faster to do your taxes. In conclusion, this system was designed for people who have small businesses, who are just getting started, who want to learn, who want to be able to have a simple tracking system, who want to have the advantage of learning as much as they can from a professional and have instant contact with that individual, and to provide infallible records that makes your tax return bulletproof. What Counts can do it. It will give you everything you need to have a wonderful experience in doing your taxes instead of being afraid. So go forth and enjoy, because I know as tax professionals, we're looking forward to working with you. Goodbye.